In this class, I'm going to be walking you through Deadbeat Super Affiliate. However, this isn't designed to just be a basic tutorial. A lot of you have already accessed my training and software and use that to build your Amazon affiliate sites. So I wanted to gear my training more towards people that are already familiar with the way I teach people to build sites, because some of the Deadbeat Super Affiliate training and my own training can seem conflicting at times. But there's actually really good reasons why this happens. And that's because you're building two completely different kinds of websites using two completely different strategies that are designed to bring the traffic in and convert it into sales in different manners. So with that said, you can use either Deadbeat Super Affiliate or my training to build a website. If you've never built one before at all, I would recommend sticking to one formula or the other, just so you can get familiar with it and learn the way it actually works before you start trying to change it up a lot. However, if you already have existing sites and you're familiar with my own strategy, and maybe you can even look through the Deadbeat Super Affiliate strategy and kind of get an idea of how it is supposed to work, I do certainly think it is okay to mix and match these two strategies. So with that said, I wanted to walk you guys through a lot of these lessons that are actually part of this. Now, I have a lot of training information that's going to go along with this, and I'm going to be providing you guys with this text file so you can use this as a bit of a refresher way to go through this class at a later point in time, so you don't have to actually watch through the video again. This text file will give you essentially the basics of what I'm going to be teaching you guys tonight. So this will be provided along with the recording from this class, and you'll get an email for that later this evening. Should be around midnight Eastern Standard Time, and that will be coming from GoToWebinar, and access to that will remain up indefinitely. So with that said, I want to actually start talking about some of these individual classes that are in Deadbeat Super Affiliate now. To begin with, the introduction lesson here is really all about mindset. I consider this to be very important, and in particular, one of the things that Dan talks about in this lesson really struck a key with me, and that is talking about critics that you're going to have when you're doing online marketing and building websites. Well, I had my fair share of critics when I was first getting started working online, and even still to this day, after being at it for part-time almost 2 decades now, and full-time for about a decade, I still have friends and family that just simply don't get it, and they still even encourage me to just abandon it and go out and work at McDonald's, even though I can't possibly fathom why they could recommend something like that when I'd have to work at McDonald's for 10 or 20 years to make what I can make in a single year online. Now, with that said, I didn't necessarily agree with Dan in the aspect that every single one in your life will be a negative influence about your online business. It is possible that everyone that is your close friends and family, they may all be negative. However, for me personally, I had a lot of people in my life that knew I was very strong with computers. They knew I had toyed around with things like affiliate marketing and had made some pretty decent money on the side in the past. So with that said, it's possible that that might have something to do with the fact that at least some of the friends and family members in my life have been very accepting and even extremely supportive of my career choice. My father, in fact, being one of them, and he's actually quite proud of what I have accomplished, despite the fact that I now make more than him, and he's the CFO of a decent-sized company with 40 years experience as an accountant. Now, I think that kind of boils down to why some people are actually negative about this type of career. It simply makes them mad that maybe you found a way to make money easier than their method, which is enduring years of college, brutal colleagues, mindless days at work, trying to get meager pay raises every couple of years. There's simply no limit to what kind of a pay raise you can achieve online. And in fact, for 5 years plus of my initial startup years, I doubled, if not better, my income every single year for 5 years plus in a row. And you simply can't do that kind of stuff when it comes to the real working world. Maybe a couple of random privileged few people are able to pull that off in the real working world. People that just fly through advancements as if, some kind of magic were propelling them. But for the average person, it simply doesn't work that way. They can work their whole life just to try to get maybe even a 50% increase in their income. So when it comes to your friends and family, what I would really recommend to do is, even though you will want to share with them what you're doing and the websites that you're building, wait until you're making some kind of money with it, till you have something to show for your work, and then share it with your friends and family. Now, you will almost certainly get at least some people that will respond to it in a negative manner, like what Dan talks about. However, you can kind of judge for yourself who those people might be, and just simply don't talk to them about your work in the future. Just omit it. It's not like you don't have to stop being friends with them or family with them. You just simply don't talk about your business side of your life. Now, if you happen to be lucky like me and do have people that seem supportive about it, you'll be really, really happy that you did share with them, because internet marketing can be kind of a lonely job sometimes. You sit here at your computer by yourself, and then if you can't share with your friends and family that actually live around you, the people that you interact with on a regular basis, then ultimately you really have nobody that you can share what you're doing with, and you just kind of have to hold it all inside. So I do recommend trying to find somebody that will be supportive of it, somebody that you can share it with, somebody that might even be a little technically inclined so they can understand the things that you're talking about too, so you can have engaging conversations about it. Because it really, really helps in the long run to be able to share what you do with somebody, even if it is just for a casual talk in your spare time. Now, getting more into the actual training of the Deadbeat Super Affiliate course, I've gone through all of these lessons and identified where my own strategies kind of differ from the Deadbeat Super Affiliate strategies. And so those are a lot of the key points that I want to talk about as I proceed through here. Now, to start with, you have a basic lesson on registering for your affiliate networks. If you're not registered for Amazon, or if you want to check out Market Health, then that is certainly a lesson you can go and check out, but I didn't want to spend time going over that because it's really basic information. Now, getting down into your actual market selection, lesson number 2. One of the things that I noticed about this lesson is the listing of different proven online niche markets that Dan recommends for you to dive into. And I completely support this list. But still keep in mind that this is not a complete listing. In fact, a lot of the people that have picked up Deadbeat Super Affiliate will end up trying to go specifically for one of the exact niches listed here. So if you can deviate from this plan while still staying within these primary categories, you'll find a lot better success with a lot less competition. Now, you may also notice that a lot of these niches here may not be the most appealing to you. You may not have previous knowledge about it. You may really not even want to try to learn about it or write content about it. And this, I think, is something that throws off a lot of people with their niche selection in the beginning, is because these are not things that your average beginner affiliate will typically try to go after. They're going to think things like bed bugs and excessive sweating and back pain and stop snoring might be silly, pointless concepts to try to go for, when in fact there's all these emotional nerves that are playing behind why people buy these types of products. And so even though it may not be the most appealing kind of topic to go for, you do want to try to focus on these kinds of products that have some kind of emotion behind it. Emotion is really the key to your niche selection. When you're targeting something that people are passionate about, they're a lot more likely to spend money on it, and they might even go a little bit overboard on it. You can likely think of some kind of hobby or passion or something that's really bothered you in your own personal life that you have just thought about every single day and wanted to do something about so bad. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to get the best results from online. So that's really what Dan is talking about here in this particular lesson. Now, you can certainly make money by going after niches that have nothing to do with what you're seeing here. You can go after just standard, everyday types of products that people will go out and buy online. For example, I have a down comforter website. I guarantee you people are not passionate about down comforters, but I can still make money off of a website like that. It's really all in how you're going to decide to approach the niche that you want to target. With Dan's tactic here and the whole Deadbeat Super Affiliate system, you're going to be essentially identifying one single product in the niche and targeting everything back to that one product and trying to refer as many sales as you possibly can on it. You then have all of these other aspects that are outside of your website that you're going to have to build up in the Deadbeat Super Affiliate system to essentially boost the search power of your actual website that's selling your product. Whereas with my approach, you're really doing more work on your actual website itself. Whereas I feel like with Deadbeat Super Affiliate, you're putting a lot of the work that you do elsewhere on the internet besides your actual website. Now, there's nothing wrong with one approach or the other. Again, it's about what you're trying to target and what your goals may be, and also what kind of work you're willing to actually do. Some people don't mind writing articles. Some people don't mind outsourcing their work. Some people don't mind creating videos themselves where they do the voiceover or where they are actually on camera. Other people would never in a million years want to do something like that, and the only way they would consider doing it is by outsourcing it. So your individual situation and what you're willing to actually proceed with doing can drastically affect the kinds of niches that you decide to target and also the way you actually go about building those websites. So if you're not okay with doing a lot of the video heavy aspects of Deadbeat Super Affiliate, you might be more inclined to stray towards my strategy that's more article focused on your own website instead of putting a lot of these videos out there and essentially bombarding everything with backlinks. So with that said, the next thing that Dan proceeds on to is keyword research and also checking search engine competition for the niche that you are considering targeting. So what you're trying to do is select your niche, and then you want to verify that it's going to be a good niche to target before you actually proceed with setting up hosting and buying a domain name for that website. So in these two lessons here, number 3 and number 4, you're going to learn about keyword research, how to check the competition quickly for the keyword phrase on Google. And this approach is a little different from my own because of, again, the overall strategy of this system, which is really important to remember if you currently use my training, because this part you may really get a little more confused on once you go through these 2 lessons. With my approach, I try to build on-site content to get search rankings for extremely low competition keywords without the need for additional backlinking or marketing work. However, with Dan's approach, he's trying to build more of a product review focused website that uses info content as a backup. However, he's really targeting much higher traffic and higher competition keyword phrases. And so to get rankings on those phrases, he has to utilize a lot of backlink building and traffic generation from other sources. As I mentioned before, videos are extremely important for this approach. So when you research and select your own niche, you can determine the best approach for it depending on the level of competition and the type of work that you are comfortable with doing. If you don't want to do all that extra video work, then you might need to avoid going for these multi-thousand monthly search keyword phrases and go for some of the lower competition stuff. Now, continuing on, a number of these other classes, 5, 6, 6B, 7, and even 8, involve setting up your website. This can be done either the way that I teach it or the Deadbeat way. However, one of the things that I want to point out involves the Deadbeat theme itself. Whether you use this theme or the Weaver theme that I recommend in my training to use can really depend on what your website is going to consist of. If you look at the sample site for Deadbeat Super Affiliate, banishskintags.com, you'll see this theme being utilized on the site. And you might notice this little sidebar over here that is promoting the actual product. No matter what page you try to go and visit on this site, you still end up with this little sidebar promoting this one same product. So with that said, if your focus on the niche is going to be revolving around just one product, the Deadbeat theme is something that you can certainly consider using. However, if you're going to be branching out at all and doing more than just one product on your website, then you might be better off using the Weaver theme and building up sites the way that I recommend doing it with that, because that allows you to build a larger, more comprehensive site, whereas this type of site is solely focused on driving traffic to the home page, which is your product review page. Now, the product review page actually brings me along to the next lesson here. Number 9, adding an article. This is a really good training video and kind of a long one too. I find it excellent for building a really engaging product review page. What you see here on the home page of this website is what it's going to teach you to build during this particular lesson. Now, this is a strategy that you could use with either the Deadbeat system or with my own site building strategies. The theme here being focused on one particular product. Obviously, if you are only going to be using one product on the whole site, you would want to use the Deadbeat theme. And then if not, I'd recommend checking out Weaver. The most current version is called Weaver Extreme, just in case you actually do not have access to my training. You can build your product review pages in this same manner, but you would simply end up setting up multiple pages. But then you would also want to make sure you are including your affiliate link on those pages if you're not using the Deadbeat theme. Now, they end up talking about how to actually insert the affiliate link into the Deadbeat theme at a later point in this training. It's not actually covered in the article part so much. Now, they do link up the images and stuff like that to the affiliate link as well. But you're not going to have something like this on your page unless you're creating it manually, creating it maybe with one of my plugins, or without using the Deadbeat theme here. So with that said, the actual training that he gives you to create these product review pages, he mentions in there something about making additional passes through your page content to continue to improve on it, especially after a page actually begins to bring in traffic and make money for you. This is really important to help you maximize your earnings from your existing work. If you have product review pages currently that receive traffic and do not convert sales, try using Dan's approach with one of those product review pages to make it more engaging and a more compelling sale for your visitors. So you need to consider everything together when you select a product to promote. He mentions looking at different kinds of products that are on Amazon and also expanding out to other affiliate networks to essentially try to figure out what's going to make the most money for you per sale. But also ask yourself, what is the most likely product to sell to your visitors? Where does it sell for the cheapest price? And then also consider where you're going to earn the most commissions promoting it. Sometimes essentially the answers to those questions will end up conflicting each other. So you have to decide for yourself or even run tests on your site to see which is going to end up working the best in a real life situation. For example, if you'll make more money per sale for a particular product by promoting it on Market Help, but it costs a lot more than the same exact product on Amazon, you would have to consider whether you would really earn more by promoting that higher commission product. It's not very hard for people to go and do a little bit of price comparison before they actually complete a purchase online. Now, you certainly will have some people that will not do that price comparison before they buy something. However, if there is a really drastic difference in the price of what you're promoting and perhaps the cheapest price of what it is out there for, or maybe if you've moved off of Amazon for what Amazon sells it for, then you would really want to ask yourself whether it is going to be worth it. And if you're not sure, test it out. Try out the Amazon product and then try out the Market Help product that might cost a little bit more possibly. Test it out for a month. Take note of the traffic levels on your site for those months. So, if you ended up earning more money in 1 month, you could say, okay, this is definitely not because I had more traffic during that month. You want to kind of figure out what you're earning based on every visitor that's going to be visiting your site to ensure that you're really picking the best one to go for. Now, for me, I was really not initially clear on what Dan was doing with this product review page on his site. At the end of the lesson, it was still just a page on his website as far as I could tell. But you can see from actually viewing the live site that this is indeed something that he is setting as the homepage of his site. So again, you're only really picking one product here, and all the other content that he talks about creating on your site is something that is designed to back up this one homepage and to funnel more traffic into it. For example, his additional article that he writes, it's pointing people back to the homepage once again to boost the search power of that homepage to try to reinforce keywords. So this one page can be the page that is ranking really high in search engines like Google. Now, because there is a really limited focus on the products you're promoting here, you're just promoting one product on this entire website, it can sometimes be beneficial because people don't have a choice that they have to make when they land on this kind of a website. If they're interested in what the niche is about and they're sold by what you're talking about having to do with this product, then you're not saying here's 10 different products, go figure out which one's going to be the best for you. You're saying this is the one that you want and you're directing them to it. So in that regard, you can have a lot of success with this particular tactic because you're eliminating that additional choice for people to have to make before you're sending people along to Amazon. You're a lot more likely to land a sale in this particular kind of circumstance. However, you also have to be really careful with this tactic because if you choose the wrong product or if you don't send the right targeted traffic to it, it can end up as a complete failure. So this doesn't mean that either Dan's method or my method is wrong. They simply just both serve a different purpose. Now, continuing on, Lesson 10 is another one of these pretty basic lessons. It's going to walk you through creating your affiliate links for products on Amazon and or Market Help. So this is something that I really do not have a lot of additional comments on. If you are perhaps using software of mine instead, you may even be able to completely skip this step for creating your Amazon product links. But this could be useful for some of you if you've never used market health before and want to try out some of those niches. Now, lesson number 11. This is the first of a number of link building lessons for this system. This one is actually going to be helping you to build links for your homepage of your site for that product review page using social networks. Now, for me personally, I usually end up doing that kind of stuff manually and like to try to write unique descriptions for everywhere I'm trying to link up to or publish it from. However, this is something that you can do with outsourcing using the Deadbeat Super Affiliate system. I do, however, recommend being careful about who you pick to do the job and how quickly you're actually going to have those links published. The more gradual and natural you can make that appear, the better off you're going to fare with search rankings, both short-term and in the long run. So keep that in mind whenever you're going through this link building training and any other ones that might be a part of this system. Simply do not overdo it. There is certainly a point here with what he is teaching you where you can go overboard with it and end up completely killing the rankings of your website. When done in moderation, though, and slowly and with as much unique content as you possibly can do it with, these can be really, really effective strategies that can help you to target a lot of the higher competition niches that this system will encourage you to go for. Now, lesson number 12 is that lesson I was mentioning earlier, where it's going to teach you how to set up the sidebar here, where you're going to actually go into the theme and customize some different aspects of it. And one of that is to actually set up your product promotion. So if you're going to be using the Deadbeat theme and focusing just on one product for that website, then this is a lesson that you would want to be checking out so you can be sure to add that affiliate link in. Otherwise, that little sidebar is going to end up working against you instead of for you. Now, the next two lessons here, 13 and 14, these are good lessons no matter what you're actually going to be targeting or what kind of site you're going to be building. Whether you're using this system or one of my own, both of these lessons can easily still apply to you. The About Me page is something that I've always recommended for people to create, maybe in a somewhat different manner from how Dan is doing it. I really like the personal approach that Dan tries to put on the About Me page in this particular lesson, as opposed to mine being a little more generic. I don't include a picture of myself or another person on there in a lot of cases. But adding that more personal touch to it definitely helps to add legitimacy to your website. So it doesn't just look like a spam page. So it looks like this is a website that was set up by somebody who had this problem and experienced it themselves, found a solution for it, and now they're telling you about it. This tends to make one of the more effective kinds of websites when you can get that personal connection going on there. Now, the additional lesson here on adding more articles is about creating additional info articles that are then going to reinforce the homepage. You can see one of these right here, the three home remedies, and how it is again pointing back to the homepage of the website, but using relevant keywords to try to enhance search rankings. So whether you end up with search rankings on a page like this or on the home page, it's all going to end up funneling traffic back to that one page that is focused on selling that product. Now, my info articles that I recommend people create are more used to support and boost the ranking power of my money pages. I simply just have more of them on each affiliate site because I end up building a larger website than what Dan will create here. He might only create a couple of pages on his site to start with. This is actually a 3-page website here. He's got an info page, the product page, and the About Me page. Whereas a lot of the affiliate sites that I'd create might be more like 20 pages or something like that. And they might promote 4 to 6 different products instead of just one. And so I might have a couple of info products backing, or info articles backing up each of those products that I'm promoting on my site. So the concept is really still the same. Mine is just a larger expansion of it, and I keep the content on my own website instead of putting a lot of work into marketing. So now, if you proceed through his entire system, including all the link building and everything going along with it, and you still do not end up with decent search rankings, I would recommend revisiting Lesson 14 and basically continuing to build up the content on this website. The more content you can have on there, the better off you're going to be, especially when all that content is funneling traffic and search power back to the actual page that's going to help to make you money there. The same thing really still applies for my site building strategy as well. I recommend going back through and making additional passes on the pages that are getting a lot of traffic so you can enhance that traffic even more. And I recommend continuing to build content on sites that show some kind of indication in the search rankings that they're close to getting that good ranking. Like if you can find your page ranked on page 2 or 3 of Google, for example, you know Google likes your page. You're just not quite there yet to be ranked on page number 1. That can be a really strong indication that Google likes your site. And you should therefore put some additional work into whatever page it is that Google has ranked in that position so you can try to improve it. However, you don't want to put forth a lot of work into things that appear to be complete failures. You want to see something going on in terms of traffic before you really pour a lot of extra work into trying to build something up, to trying to expand a website. So start simple and build up your site. Take a step back from it and see what's going on with it. See the areas that you can essentially revisit to help and make improvements. Now, continuing on, the next lesson here is on advanced link building. This is talking about using link pyramids. Personally, I would be really careful with the usage of link pyramids, even if they are currently working. This could definitely be a tactic that Google tries to target in the future to try to wipe it out with simply an algorithm change. The less unique, the more automated you make this entire process, the more likely you would be to essentially get targeted by Google in that manner. With that said, the concept behind a link pyramid is still a strong concept. However, the way that this system is teaching it, I really can't imagine that you would be able to get 100 pages of unique content on different website properties out there created for you for a mere $5 from a Fiverr gig. You're most likely going to be getting something that is heavily automated by doing that, or you will have to simply go for a lot less marketing work for the same price. Getting unique content, you might only get one page or a couple of pages depending on how big they are. So if you don't want to go out there and spend a lot of money and even potentially risk that somebody's doing some kind of unsavory tactic with your website simply to get their Fiverr gig completed and get paid as quick as they can, try doing it manually and see how it works out for you. Or even find someone on Fiverr willing to actually provide the unique content, somebody that is committed to doing it manually on a smaller scale. My other recommendation is to actually build up these additional off-site pages at a very gradual pace to make it look natural. If you're going to have to automate anything, make it go as slow as possible. After all, most brand new, smaller websites will simply not end up with 100 other websites talking about it within a few weeks of it being created. However, a new page popping up randomly once or twice a week over the course of a number of months is a lot more natural looking, and especially if all that content ends up being unique as well. Now, the other thing I recommend here is to consider whether you're better off putting all of this unique content on your own website. If you're going to be doing a lot of this link pyramid stuff manually, and for example, you might go out to different Web 2.0 properties, Blogger, WordPress, for example, where you can create these free blogs and create a small little 1 or 2 page site about your niche that then points back to your website. Consider whether you're going to be better off writing that stuff on your site. A lot of times with the lower competition niches, I try to put the unique content on my own website. However, if you do want to try to go after some of the higher traffic phrases that Dan likes to try to target, you're almost definitely going to end up needing these off-site pages to boost your search ranking power to actually get into the top 10 for those phrases, whereas the lower competition stuff can usually get the rankings without these additional backlinks. So this is really one of the biggest differences here between my approach and Dan's approach. However, both strategies still work when applied correctly. So just keep quality and value in mind when you're going through this, especially if you're going to end up outsourcing your work to places like Fiverr. Ask yourself if you are adding value to your site or just spamming things to try to boost search rankings. You always want to do the additional work to add value to ensure long-term success. Otherwise, Google on a regular basis does identify these situations where people are trying to take advantage of search rankings, and they do wipe this stuff out with algorithm changes. And that's when you hear all the people whining on the marketing forums about Panda this and Penguin that. I've never once worried about any of those Google updates because I try to give Google what it is looking to find. And it doesn't want automated junk type of content. It wants quality and value. It wants people to be able to find what they are searching for. Otherwise, Google does not want you to be in those search rankings. And nothing will ever possibly change that. Now, beyond all this link building, a lot of the other concepts here in this training all have to do with video. Basically everything from lesson 16 down to 22 is all focused on video. The first 4 lessons here, 16 and 17, and then the additional parts to 17, all involve creating videos that are going to help you to boost your search rankings and or to drive more targeted traffic to your site. I really highly recommend the video marketing section here of the Deadbeat course for any kind of niche website that you might be building. Whether this is with this system or with my system, or honestly with anything else that you might want to try to do. There's a lot of really great information in here that can apply to pretty much any kind of website. One of the things I did want to point out though is this system is obviously promoting Video Maker FX. There are a lot of other ways to go about creating videos. I've promoted Explaindio and personally used that myself. If you already have Explaindio, certainly use that instead of actually making another purchase and buying Video Maker FX. If you have some kind of other video software that you're comfortable with using, or maybe you just want to shoot videos using your cell phone or something like that, there are a lot of different possibilities there that do not involve buying additional software. So that's certainly not necessary as long as you have some other way to go about actually creating your video. And if you don't have Video Maker FX or Explaindio or anything currently to use and you really do want to check out one of those software titles, I'd honestly recommend waiting about 2 weeks or so. On July the 1st, Explaindio 2.0 is going to be released, and something that I will be heavily featuring and promoting because I'm a huge fan of Explaindio 1, and I've already been checking out Explaindio 2.0, and it's something that I think you guys are really going to love, and honestly I think it's a lot better than Video Maker FX personally. So if you don't have anything, I would really recommend to hold out for the next couple of weeks till the beginning of July. Simply work on everything else in this system up until that time. You can certainly be building the product pages and the articles and the social networking links in the meantime. Now, lesson 18 and 19 covers YouTube itself, involving getting your actual videos uploaded, your channel created. With this approach, you will be creating a unique YouTube channel for each of the niche websites that you're going to be building. That way you have a targeted channel to that particular niche, because there's more to it than just creating and publishing the videos. And that's what a lot of these later lessons are really diving into, is what to do after you get those videos published. What to do to ensure that your videos don't just sit there having no traffic to them or having no interest on them whatsoever. There are some ways that you can kind of give your videos a bit of a nudge to help get them out of the gate. Things like buying YouTube views. Again, though, this is something that you want to be really cautious about doing. I'll talk more about that in just a couple of minutes, though. Having to do with your uploading your videos and your optimizing of your YouTube channel, my biggest recommendations here are really to be as unique as possible with your content on both YouTube and even content that ends up pointing to YouTube, essentially backlinks that you end up creating to point to your YouTube videos. For example, when you publish a video with a link to your site in the description, write a unique article that has a couple hundred words or more. and include that in that description as well to talk about your video, your niche, and even the product that you're promoting. This helps to drastically increase the results that you get from your videos because this gives YouTube and search engines some content to go off of besides just the fact that you have a video there and the title of your video. Now also, when you actually do the social bookmarking, I believe they talk about this in, I want to say the channel optimization, where you're going to be bookmarking both your YouTube channel and the actual videos that you're uploading. I'd still recommend to kind of heed the same advice that I gave a little earlier, having to do with either doing this kind of stuff manually to provide unique content or do it as gradual as you possibly can to make it look natural to these search engines. Otherwise, these things like mass social bookmarking can end up having a negative effect on your rankings instead of a positive effect. Now, the YouTube comment section in the channel optimization, I believe, is a really excellent way to drive a lot of targeted traffic to your channel and your videos, and even to help to boost rankings with search engines and even YouTube as well. However, remember this one key thing about doing the YouTube comment posting. Almost all of your comments will end up having to be manually approved before they go live on somebody else's video. Think about videos that you would publish on YouTube. You could have a pretty good idea of the kind of comments you would approve and the kind of comments you would just reject without giving them a second thought. You need to keep this in mind when you go through and make your own comments because you simply can't do spamming in those comments. You must write unique content for them and personalize it to the actual video that you're posting on. Watch the video, see how it relates to your niche and or the videos that you might have on your channel, and write a meaningful comment to actually try to post there. 99 times out of 100, you're going to get those approved. You might have the one random person that thinks you're his competition or something like that and still tries to not approve you, but for the most part, those comments are going to simply get through on a regular basis as opposed to anything else that you could possibly do there. So while it might be tempting to try to spam, URLs to your channel or your individual videos or your website or something like that in the YouTube comments, you have to avoid that completely and instead focus on quality there to make sure your comments actually get approved. And then people will be able to follow those comments back to your YouTube channel and explore everything else that you have to offer. This can be really, really helpful in the beginning, especially to help to build up your channel, to help to build up some initial subscribers, and so you can then have, views on your video. And that actually kind of ties into the next subject here. I really, really like that this buying YouTube views lesson is included in this system. Not necessarily because I would recommend going out and buying YouTube views, but because it teaches you about a lot of the mechanics of how the YouTube videos are really going to work. And I can confirm that this is indeed a fact because I do a lot of YouTube videos myself. Videos that have more views and more activity, likes, subscriptions, and comments are the things that he's talking about here. I even argue that dislikes help videos because it makes it look more natural. Go out and find any super popular viral video that's out there that got tens of millions or hundreds of millions of views and there's going to be thousands of dislikes on those videos. So you simply have to consider that YouTube would find it natural for a popular video to be disliked by some people. Well, all that additional viewing and activity on a video will cause it to receive more traffic from YouTube and even from Google. On Google, this means better rankings. On YouTube, this means better search rankings and better exposure in the sidebar for the recommended videos that relate to what you are already watching on YouTube at the moment. You get a lot of traffic in this manner from even YouTube itself. I have a couple of particular videos that really target a small niche market and yet have 40,000 plus views on them, and they're really not that old of videos, and they really don't even have that great of Google rankings. They're getting a lot of this traffic just directly off of YouTube itself because the video has a lot of activity. The video has a lot of interaction going on with it, people that are commenting on it, people that are liking it or subscribing to me through it. So this kind of stuff really heavily affects the videos that YouTube picks to put up in the top of their search rankings or to recommend in the sidebar when you're watching other videos. So with that said, while this activity and views on your video are important, you do want to be extremely cautious with buying views, which is something that Dan does indeed recommend. He says to keep it very, very low, to only go to about 200 views per video that you're actually buying views on. Going overboard with that can get you in trouble with YouTube because they simply identify that that is actually a way to increase your exposure on your videos by getting more activity on it. So you need this to not only be done in moderation if you choose to go that route, but also make it as natural as possible. You don't want to have 200 views on your video and 100 likes on it. That's simply not going to happen. A couple hundred views, you might be lucky if you get 5 likes on your video. So make sure that kind of stuff, whether you do it yourself or outsource it or simply try to get friends and family to go and view your videos, or maybe you're just trying to promote the videos through your own ways. You need to keep that moderation in mind. Now, one of the things that you can do where you really don't have to worry about moderation in terms of driving views and activity to your brand new videos is if you can drive that traffic yourself and it's real people, quality, highly targeted traffic. So what I'm referring to here is, let's say you have your niche website set up already. Obviously, once you get down to the video sections of this training, your site should already be completed and may even have some rankings and traffic already. Well, you can then simply embed your YouTube videos onto a page of your website and try to get people to watch them there to increase the views and the activity levels. If you have a Facebook fan page connected to your site or a newsletter list that you've been building with your niche website, that's also something that you can do. I sometimes create marketing videos relating to do with Amazon, and I'll have them up on my YouTube account, and I can simply direct my newsletter to go and watch one of those videos and get a couple hundred or more views in a single day on it. And I can guarantee you that YouTube does not look poorly upon something like that because it's real people, it's real interactions that are taking place. I don't get an obscene number of likes or comments or something off of sending all that traffic to it. So YouTube can definitely tell the difference between real traffic and traffic that you would end up buying. So keep that in mind. It's not that you don't want to bombard your brand new video with a lot of views or a lot of activity. You just need to be careful about where that's coming from, because YouTube simply doesn't want you to try to be scamming them and the way their system works. Without this additional kind of marketing work or exposure for your video, it is quite possible that your videos could simply just sit there. The quality and the content in the video really doesn't matter to a certain extent unless you can get that exposure for it so people can actually start watching it. An amazing video will not just simply be watched because it is amazing. You have to actually get people to it first and get them to watch it, and then it will start to get that additional exposure. And obviously a better video would be more inclined to then begin to take off once it gets that kind of exposure. However, even a really poor video, when given the right amount of exposure, can still do extremely well. So the quality of the video itself, while it can help you, it definitely isn't everything there. You have to kind of give your videos a little bit of a push kind of to get them out of the gate. Now, there are definitely exceptions to that. You can publish a whole lot of videos and you will have some of them that randomly catch on or get good search rankings or pick up a lot of YouTube traffic on their own without having to do this kind of additional stuff. But to try to help more of your videos become successful, to get them to the traffic levels that are really going to help to drive monthly sales to your niche website, a lot of times this additional kind of marketing work and hand-holding can really be beneficial. Now for the last couple lessons here, I just about have finished up with what I want to teach you guys, but I had a couple of additional notes that I wanted to mention, especially with lesson number 21 and lesson number 22. These kind of get back into that link building, possibly automated part of the website building, which can be beneficial when done correctly or in moderation. But again, this is another one of the parts of the training I would recommend some caution while using. Now, distributing the video to the other networks and also doing the mass link blasting, but not for the YouTube videos itself. This is done for all of the other video sites. This is something that can help to improve the rankings of your YouTube videos, but again, this is also something when done in a really automated manner, it can actually harm your YouTube videos or even your website rankings in general. So with that said, tone it down as much as possible. Do this kind of work as gradually as you possibly can and use as much unique content as you can either manage to do with your own time or as you can manage to afford. Now, they're talking about an overwhelming amount of work here in these two lessons to truly be able to do all that manually. So what I would really recommend to do is work your way up to lesson number 20 and just kind of pause there for a little while before you proceed on to doing 21 and 22. Give it a month or two and see how your site does. See how your YouTube videos are doing. See if you really feel like additional marketing work on your YouTube videos, whether it's necessary to get them successful or not. And then if you do feel like it's not quite where it should be yet or where it could be, then proceed through these with moderation, or even doing it manually but in much lower quantities. to try to help to gradually increase the rankings of your YouTube videos. Personally, though, I've never done stuff like what's talked about in 21 and 22 having to do with my YouTube videos, and I've still had tons of those videos be successful. So I don't consider this to be an absolute necessity. Another one of the reasons why I would recommend to kind of pause before you get to these 2 lessons here and just see how things are going. Now, my final thoughts, instead of Dan's final thoughts on this whole training, depending on your current situation and your level of experience, again, what you want to do with this system and my own training can really vary quite a bit. You can build sites using strictly Dan's approach or strictly my approach, but you can also easily combine the 2 strategies in a lot of different ways. However, if you're a complete beginner and have never built a site before, and you have access to my complete training library, I would really recommend creating 2 sites, one using each method. And see which one you like best. See which one delivers more earnings for you based on the time and money invested. And once you get each strategy working, you can really kind of figure out which parts you can mix and match effectively without having somebody specifically telling you, exactly what you should be doing step by step. For example, one of the biggest ways that you'll be able to combine this with my training is the video marketing part of it. You can video market any part of a website, the money pages, the home page, whatever you want to, using this kind of a tactic, whether it's my strategy of a website or Dan's strategy. Other parts of it, like the product review pages that I mentioned previously, something else that can easily be combined in with my approach, simply replace the type of product review pages you would build using my strategy with something like this, do a bit of a mix-up of the 2 of them even. Now, either way, you can really get success, or by even mixing it up like this. Just simply remember that the deadbeat way that Dan teaches here, take it with a bit of a grain of salt. It's not all completely hands-off. Some of it can be, but there are still a lot of parts where simply doing it manually will end up creating a higher quality site in the end that'll get better rankings and remain having better rankings for many, many years to come. Now, if there are any questions that you guys might have on the Deadbeat Super Affiliate system or on anything that I have covered in tonight's class for you, I do welcome questions that you may have. Just punch them into the chat box if you would like to ask something. And that's a good question, Alan. I think you're already on that. It's not Theme Azon Pro, Team Azon Pro, TeamAzonPro.com. Includes essentially all of my past training. I could be mistaken. I was kind of thinking you were either a current or previous member, though, Alan. But just in case anybody else is wondering the same thing, if you would like super detailed instructions on exactly how I build my Amazon sites, actually a couple different ways that I build my Amazon sites, all my software, personal coaching, quite a bit of other stuff, live monthly webinars. All this is included with Team Azon Pro, something I do to try to offer, my vast amount of knowledge that I have compiled for you guys in one single place, and also for a reasonable price too. Individually priced, all this stuff was quite a bit, and I reached a point where I was just like, okay, I don't want to be asking people to pay me $1,000 for all of my training and software and stuff. So this seems like something that works out really, really great for my existing trainees, and something that works out great for me. It allows me to put a lot of focus on new training and software for you guys as well. Well, thank you again for picking up Deadbeat Super Affiliate and for coming out to my live class tonight. Great to see a lot of familiar faces and even new faces out there. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you again in the future for more bonus training classes that I'll be offering. I try to do these whenever I find that there's a product that needs, some extra guidance or explanation or recommendations to go along with it to ensure that it gets used properly, instead of, maybe someone taking it a little overboard, like with the whole Deadbeat thing. So thank you again, and thank you for your continued support. Good night, everyone.